How's it going, guys? My name is Luis, and Microsoft and Sony have both showed us what their plans are for 4K this generation. Microsoft with their brand new Xbox One X, and Sony with their PlayStation 4 Pro that came out last year. Let's compare the two new consoles and see just how well both of them stack up against each other. Now let's get the obvious out of the way. The Xbox One X is a powerhouse of a console and a damn good looking one too. Microsoft's new $500 Xbox One X murders the $400 PS4 Pro in just pure performance while still being a smaller console than something like the Xbox One S. Now while I don't have a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X right next to me, I've tried both consoles already this week at E3, and it's pretty darn impressive just how compact the new Xbox One X is in terms of the power it's able to perform. Xbox One X is also able to hit 6 teraflops of computing power, with 12GB of GDDR5 RAM, 9 of which are dedicated to video games, while the remaining 3 are left to the operating system. PS4 Pro, on the other hand, can only perform 4.2 teraflops of computing power, with 8GB of GDDR5 RAM, 5.5 of which goes to the games while the rest goes to the operating system. Another thing to note is that the Xbox One X, just like the Xbox One S before it, has a 4K Blu-ray player, and for someone that pioneered the Blu-ray technology like Sony, to not put one in the PS4 Pro is very weird, and assuming you are interested in 4K because you're buying a 4K console, that's a thing to take note of when buying an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro. So you can already tell that the Xbox One X is a better piece of hardware for sure, just comparing the tech specs and the raw power alone. But let's talk about the other important half to this conversation, the video games. I mean, you're buying this box to play video games. Games will undoubtedly run better on Xbox One X, that's just a given. The more powerful hardware will let third-party titles like Anthem, Metro, and Dragon Ball FighterZ all run at higher resolutions and possibly higher frame rates than on the PS4 Pro. Third parties seem on board with the new Xbox One X, and if you don't have the newest PC parts, the Xbox One X could very well outpower some modern gaming PCs from just a few years ago. On the first party note though, Xbox One X is a little bit more lackluster, even despite all that power. At this E3, Microsoft announced 2 new first party games, one of which was their annual Forza installment, and the other one was the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest that looks absolutely beautiful, though it isn't coming out till next year. Other than that, State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves, that were both presumed to be coming out this year and have been at previous E3 shows, have been delayed into 2018. So that leaves Cuphead and Crackdown 3 coming out later this year towards the later end of the year, and it also should be mentioned that all of these games are coming to PC, so you don't need to technically own an Xbox One to play any of these quote-unquote Microsoft exclusives. PS4 Pro, on the other hand, is a much weaker console compared to Xbox One X, so you'll see a lot of these third-party games coming to both consoles like Xbox One X and PS4 Pro run at either a lower resolution or possibly a lower frame rate on the PlayStation hardware. More specifically, games that run at native 4K on Xbox One X could be running at 1440p on PS4 Pro, or even more towards native 4K but through the checkerboarding upscale method, not true 4K like Xbox One X. Furthermore, developers need to patch their games to get the full use out of PS4 Pro hardware, even with its boost mode enabled. Xbox One X, on the other hand, games will naturally just work better on Xbox One X, no need of a patch required. I'm sure there's some work needed, but not as much as PS4 Pro. Now while the PS4 Pro is definitely lacking in terms of the hardware at this point, they have one thing to make up for it, and that's their large number of video games exclusive to the PlayStation platform. The list of third-party software coming to Xbox still comes to eventually PS4, even if it's timed exclusive or not. Usually some of which gets DLC first on PS4, like Destiny and Call of Duty, just 2 of the biggest franchises on multi-platforms right now. There's even a few third-party exclusives coming to PS4. Specifically this year so far, it's had Nioh, Nier Automata, Persona 5, although that's technically a PS3 game as well, though it's still a PlayStation exclusive if you will, and the collections of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 and Kingdom Hearts 2.8. More impressive than the list of third-party exclusives coming to PlayStation though, are the list of first-party games, both of the past and the ones upcoming later this year and in the future. Despite being on currently now weaker hardware, PlayStation has had some of the most critically acclaimed first-party games of this generation, both in the past and some of the most hyped up or anticipated games coming out in the future. Uncharted 4, Gravity Rush 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Ratchet & Clank, Wipeout Omega Collection, The Last Guardian, Until Dawn, Bloodborne, and Infamous Second Son all have been released on PlayStation 4 and are exclusive to PlayStation 4. If you want to count all the PlayStation Vita games that got later remastered in HD or 4K for PS4, you could add those to the list too. That's not even mentioning all the console exclusives coming to the PS4 in the future. Games like Death Stranding, Spider-Man, The Last of Us Part 2, Days Gone, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus the Remake, and Detroit Become Human. So on a software front, Sony is killing it both in first-party support and third-party support with all their exclusives. If I want to play Last of Us Part 2, I can only play it on my PS4, whether it's running at 900p, 1080p, or 4K, it's only playable technically on my PS4. While if I buy an Xbox One, the software on it I can really just play on my PC. If I want to play games like ReCore, Quantum Break, Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Dead Rising 3, they're all available on my PC. To actually recall, there's only really 3 exclusives on Xbox One, true exclusives. That's Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is a collection of games from the past, just remastered now for this generation. Halo 5, which had a pretty mediocre story mode, but a great multiplayer mode. And then Sunset Overdrive, probably my favorite game on the Xbox One, though it hasn't got a sequel for some reason, even though it's a great game. So from that standpoint, there isn't so much software on Xbox One that's compelling me to play it that much if it's already on PC. So even now when people tweet me, ask me in the comments, or just message me on Instagram, Luis, should I buy an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro? Despite the big power difference, I say buy the PS4 Pro. Ultimately and presumably, when you're buying a brand new game console, you're buying it to play games on it, correct? So I'm always going to choose the console that has the most vast library or the exclusives that you can only play on that console. Whether it was when the PS4 was technically the most powerful console on the market, or whether it's the PS4 Pro that's now weaker than the Xbox One X, the PlayStation library has always been vast and exclusive to that platform, making it a better choice for just playing video games in general. Don't get me wrong, Xbox One X has some really cool features like Xbox Game Pass, backwards compatibility, play anywhere, features that make it a very pro-consumer device but also kind of hurt the platform sometimes. Ultimately, I have to go where the games are, and for now, and as of this generation, it's where the PlayStation is at the moment. Hopefully, with their new 4K box, Microsoft changes that and starts releasing more content to sort of persuade me to play my Xbox more, but at the time being, it's just a really nice box that's pretty expensive. And that's about it for me. But as always, this is a discussion and a conversation, so whether you agree or disagree with me, let me know what you think about this whole Xbox One X versus PS4 Pro in the comment section down below, and tell me why. I'd love to hear. Thank you all very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, drop it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.